chain, a ball and a chain behind you. You have a youthful energy and vitality and a nervous system that's functioning at its optimal level. How many of you would rather have the second way than the first way? Absolutely. Good, good. So for everybody who raised your hand, you're in the right place. Okay, for all those who I can accept as patients. Last week there were 2 out of 4 people I was not able to accept as patients because it was already too late for them. And so that's a really sad situation. Luckily, in this room, we don't have that same sad situation. So I'm happy to report that. As a young child, I had a terrible, terrible fall where I was paralyzed. And then for the next 12 years, I suffered with debilitating pain that would get so bad that sometimes I would just have to sit and cry. My parents took me everywhere to find out what was wrong with me. They took me to orthopedic surgeons. They took me to physical therapists. They took me to medical doctors. And nobody could find the problem. And in fact, they told me and my parents that I didn't have a problem. They told me it was in my head. But I knew they were wrong. I knew it was in my body. I am very strong-willed, and even though I had crippling pain that would sometimes bring me to my knees and make me sit and cry, I still won the Presidential Physical Fitness Award in high school, even though this paralyzation happened to me when I was 13, and then I wasn't the same again for 12 long years. I kept searching for the answer because I knew that everywhere I went, they didn't have the answer. And so I kept searching for the answer for somebody to help me. Finally, I went to an Asian medical doctor who was very open-minded and very holistic. He referred me to a chiropractor. She took full spine x-rays inclusive of the pelvis, and she found the problem, and she fixed the problem. It took her 3 years of me going 3 times a week for 3 years, and I had to pay out of my pocket $90 a week, and I was a student in college. I lived on my own, and I had no support from my parents. So I know how it feels to be a patient, and I know how it feels to feel like, can I help myself? Can I really afford this? Can I do what's best for my body and keep having a life? And you can. There are ways to do that. So what she found was that my sacrum was actually fractured. But because I had pain in the left groin, everybody kept taking x-rays of the left groin, and that's not where my problem was. My problem was actually right down in here. And so as a chiropractor, we look at the whole body, not just where you have the pain. And a lot of times, even though it's pain that brought you in here, it's not pain that keeps you here. It's understanding why you're here. And it's also a desire for a better life, a desire for a better future, a desire to not have that crippling pain of arthritis or other dysfunctions. After I had that terrible fall, my allergies, I started getting very bad allergies, and my immune system started breaking down. And every year my allergies would get worse and worse. I'd have this terrible stomach pain that was very, very bad, and I'd have such disabling menstrual cramps that for 12 hours before my period actually started, I had to just lay in bed. I couldn't even function right. Since I've been under regular chiropractic, and since I got my spine actually corrected, I no longer have the disabling effects of subluxation. And I don't have any osteoarthritis at the age of 56. I use my spine as the near normal. And my health, I've missed 1/2 of a day in 17 years due to illness. I missed 1 day in 20 years due to a disc herniation. But because I was going regularly and keeping my spine maintained, my body was able to snap out of it right away. Okay, where's Kyle? Okay, Kyle, can you please put this up for me?
Sure.
All right. Okay, so here understands that when that inside the bones in your neck and back lives the central nervous system. The system that controls and coordinates all of your functions of your whole body. Who here knows that? Good, good. Who here knows that in between all those 24 movable bones in your neck and in your back are discs? Yeah, we all know that one, huh? Okay, now who here knows that right where the discs are in between the bones, you have a peripheral nervous system coming out from your central nervous system as an extension of your brain and your brain stem? You have the peripheral nervous system and goes to every muscle and every organ in the body. Who here knows that? Okay. Who here has seen chiropractic miracles? Absolutely. Our little Annie here, she came in paralyzed, right?
She runs.
Yes. And can she walk now?
She walks, she runs.
That's right. That's because little Annie had pressure from a vertebral subluxation that puts crushing pressure on your nerves that come out from in between those bones, going to different muscles and different organs in the body. So it will cause some kind of dysfunction someplace if those subluxations aren't corrected. And the discs, when the discs herniate from shifts or twists, then that causes, again, pressure on your delicate nerves that go to, again, all the different organs and to all the different muscles of your whole body. That's why chiropractic is so effective for helping your whole body function properly. Okay, so if I could show you a way to have a healthier, more vital, more energetic, more youthful life, who here would be open to hearing that? Good, good. Okay, so I'm going to show you some of the effects of subluxation in just a minute. Do you all know what subluxation is? Some of you do? Okay, okay. So, subluxation is the bone out of place, putting damaging stress and pressure on your delicate nerve system. It can be caused from sports, work, posture, slips and falls, stress. It can be chemical stress, emotional stress, or physical stress. Now, how can chemical stress cause a subluxation? How can emotional stress cause a subluxation? Does anybody have any ideas? Okay, so what I want you all to do is I want you to think about a food that you really like Grandma's fresh baked apple pie. Can all of you think of that? Whatever it is your favorite food is, can you smell it? Can you taste it? Okay, who here who went through that exercise, who here's mouth started watering? Yeah, that's right, that's right. That's an example of how emotions and how chemicals can literally change your body chemistry. And when it changes your body chemistry, if you secrete something called cortisol, a stress, a death hormone, it can literally make your tendons and ligaments lose their integrity, and you can get those vertebrae can slip out of place and then damage the disc, damage the nerves, and damage the organs, and not have proper nerve innervation to different things. So, can you guys imagine that now? Good, good. Now, who here has had a slip or a fall? Okay, who here has ever been 4 years old? That's right? We've all been 4. Okay, by the time a person is 4 years old, they've had 4,000 impacts to their body, 200 major ones. So that's why even children need to be checked for subluxation. Because if it's left uncorrected, they could wind up like me, who had menstrual cramps, indigestion, horrible allergies. They could have asthma. They could get scoliosis. They could get arthritis if left uncorrected. They could get degenerative disc disease. There's a host of many things you get when you have subluxation and you don't get the subluxations corrected. Okay. Sleeping. Who here sleeps? Yeah. Sometimes anyway, right? Yeah, we try. So even the way we sleep can cause our bones to get out of their proper position. Either we're on a bad bed, or we're sleeping with our head tilted up like this or like this. Our pillow isn't quite right. Maybe we toss, we turn. Maybe we sleep with our dog, and our dog, throws its arm over us and subluxates us. Who here has ever woken up with neck or back pain or numb in the hands or legs? Yes. So that's an indication of subluxation and how you can get it just from your different daily living activities, just from sleeping itself. Who here has ever lifted anything? Definitely. Absolutely. Who here has felt injured after lifting? Yeah, that's because the nerve innervation to the muscles were not functioning at 100%, and then we couldn't lift properly, and then our muscle pulled our bone out, our bone went crushing onto our nerve, and then caused some kind of terrible problem. Could have caused a disc problem, could have caused pain, numbness, or tingling, could have made it so that we couldn't digest our food properly, could have made us so we had allergies or asthma, headaches. All kinds of things can happen from these subluxations. Okay, so let me just show you. So I'm going to show you some of the areas, and nerve innervation can go to different areas of your spine. Okay, so when you have a subluxation way up here, it affects every single thing in your body. There was a 3-year study at Sherman College of Chiropractic and found that 60% of all diseases, things like MS, SLE, scleroderma, came from this top bone here being out. Who here takes their dogs to me? That's right. Every single time, what bone do I adjust? Every time I check it, and every time I adjust it to help reset the nervous system. This top bone right up here. Most important bone in the whole body. 60% of all diseases. Okay, I'm going to show you what it controls. Look at that. Do you think that's a pretty important bone? It controls everything. Every single thing in the body. And then there's segmental subluxations that control specifically segments, like right here, the thyroid. How many people here have thyroid or arm pain? How many people here are tired? Okay, good. And not good that you're tired, but right here, right in the middle of the neck, there's a little bone here, and it goes right to the thyroid. That's this gland right here. And it also goes down the shoulder, down the arms. It also controls your metabolic rate. So if you have a subluxation in your mid to lower neck, it can make you tired. I call it the tired bone, because it can make it so that your thyroid isn't functioning at 100%. There's a whole lot of reasons for thyroid not to function at 100%. Subluxation is one of the many. There's also chemical reasons, like drinking out of plastics, especially if it's hot, or microwaving your food in plastic, because it creates a synthetic estrogen, which not only can cause prostate and breast cancer, It also causes thyroid problems. So there's many, many things that can affect us. All right. So heart, look at this. That's this bone right here. So we've gone to this bone, we've gone to this bone, and now this bone. See that? Again, affects the arms. Who here has heard that when somebody is having a heart attack, not only do they feel like an elephant is sitting on their chest, but what is another complaint? That's right, left arm. Left hand, left arm, left shoulder.
Jaw.
Jaw, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yep. And you see why. Look at, what does it go to? What does that nerve go to? It goes to the heart, the lungs, and the arms, right? Okay, so it can have all, you can present with all different kinds of symptoms. Did you know that 40% of all, the first sign of 40% of all heart attacks is what? Nothing. It's the heart attack. That's right. You guys were right. It's nothing. 40% of all heart attacks, the first sign is the heart attack. 40%. So do you think that if you had pressure going on the nerve that goes to the heart, the lungs, and the arms, do you think that that might predispose your heart to not working at 100%? Yes, definitely, definitely. Now these days, we have lots and lots and lots and lots of people being diagnosed with pancreatic problems. Who here has any pancreatic problems? No one? Good. Whew. I mean, it's getting so bad that we have a new name for it. There's now a type 3 diabetes. It's called metabolic syndrome. They're not 100% sure what it's caused from, but they're thinking, some people are thinking it might be from the genetically modified foods. A lot of people are eating genetically modified foods. 89% of all corn is genetically modified. So if those corn chips or those tortillas don't say organic on them, chances are it's genetically modified. There was a study in Denmark that showed that by the 3rd generation of feeding animals genetically modified foods, the animals were being born without limbs and unable to reproduce. 40% of the monarch butterflies that land on genetically modified crops are dying. Our bees are dying. We're not quite sure if that's due to the EMFs or to the genetically modified foods or what that's doing or what's the cause of that. But we have begun to twist nature in a way that is hurting us and harming us. And we need to really be aware of that. One of the things that you can do to help yourself is be aware of soy that's not organic, because 91% of that is genetically modified. Corn that's not organic, and being aware of diet sodas that have synthetic sugar in it. The synthetic sugar lodges in your fat cells and makes you fatter. It does not make you thinner. And it also lodges in your brain, which is 50% fat, and can cause brain cancer. It also causes memory loss. My uncle recently, about 10 months ago, died of brain cancer. For at least 20 years, he drank diet sodas every single day. 15 years ago, I sent him all the information about the diet sodas and what that can do to you and how it can harm you and how it can cause brain cancer. And of course, he didn't stop. And he ended up dying of brain cancer. But also, he didn't get adjusted. So do you think that if you get adjusted, even though you need to stay away from synthetic things, the plastics, the genetically modified foods, the diet sodas, the synthetic sugars, do you think that if your body is able to function at 100% because there's no nerve interference, do you think that your body might be able to ward off that stuff more easily and have potential for greater health? Yes, who thinks that? Yes, yes, good. I've absolutely seen it. Okay. So this is the adrenal glands. That goes right here. That I call that the stress glands. It produces death hormones. It's meant for fight or flight. So we are supposed to be able to hurry up and get that adrenaline going in our body to hurry up and run away from that tiger. But instead of hurrying up and running away from the tiger, what's happened is we're constantly bombarded with all kinds of stress. It can be physical stress, it can be emotional stress, or chemical stress. And so that poor little adrenal gland is constantly pumping. And I cannot tell you how many little animals I've been seeing recently with Cushing's disease from the adrenal gland just being fatigued and it can't function anymore. It can also be from the pituitary gland. Chiropractic has been very, very successful in helping those Cushing's patients and the adrenal fatigue. You had a testimony of that today, didn't you, Ray? With little Bella, right? Little Bella came in like a sausage because she's a little dachshund, but she got Cushing's. And so she just kept adding on weight and being really thirsty and really hungry, and it just was a terrible cycle. So they took her to the vet and they found out, oh, she has Cushing's. That poor little adrenal gland was secreting all the time and it couldn't stop. It couldn't shut itself off because it was under constant bombardment of stress of whatever type. And so now, what does she look like now?
Yeah, she's good. She's really good.
Yeah, she's nice and trim and she's fit, and she actually started barking. When she first came, she wouldn't even bark, and she would just sit and she'd try to hide in a corner, and she was scared and tuck her tail, and but now she's actually coming out of her shell. So who she is meant to be is flourishing and becoming more the little animal that she is meant to be. And this is the same thing with us humans. As we get adjusted and we release the interference from above, down, inside out, then our whole body, mind, spirit can work better, can function better. Okay, and I mentioned the pancreas. That's a little bit higher than the adrenals, right in here. Okay? And then the uterus. Now, who here has ever had leg pain or intestinal problems? Yes. Okay, so that's in the low back. That's these nerves right down here. You see that? Goes to your sex organs and to your intestines and to your legs. So these organs are very important. They have a vital function. All of our organs are very important, have a vital function. Who here wants interference to their heart? No. No, I wouldn't want interference to my heart either, because what could happen? It's not going to work at 100%, right? Right. Who here wants interference to their adrenal glands? No. No. Who here wants interference to their pancreas? No. What about to the legs? What about to the arms? What about to the intestines? No. Can we all agree we don't want interference? Yes. Yes, we can all agree we don't want interference to our body, right? Because we want to function at 100%. Who here wants to function at 100%? Good, good, good. Great. Okay, so to be able to function at 100%, we just need to release the interference so that our body can function at 100%. Would you guys agree?
Yes.
Yes. Good. Good. Okay. So, what I do is very unique and different from other chiropractors. There's only 2 of us in all of Antelope Valley who do this for humans. there's only one who do this for animals, and that's me. But I travel all over the world to study with the latest technology, the people who have the latest technology, to become the greatest in my profession. And what I do is I literally change the body. I literally change your structure, because structure determines function. Who here can imagine how structure might determine function? Let me give you kind of some unusual examples. Okay, or just some examples. Okay, you know the structure of a bicycle. What do you do on a bicycle? Right. So its structure determines its function, right? Right, right. Who here ever goes to church? Okay. So churches have a certain structure, right? Okay. And then inside that structure, it has a certain function, right? Right? Okay. All right. Who here has ever sat on a toilet? That's right. That's right. That's pretty universal. Interestingly, when my husband was growing up, they actually had outhouses, and he had a little 4-seater outhouse, one for the little child, one for the medium, and one for the mother, and one for the father. True story. Yeah. And so structure determines function. It determines what is going to happen and what your body is designed to do. Okay, so there are certain curves that you're supposed to have in your structure, in this vehicle that you get around in this earth with. And from the side, it's supposed to have a nice curve here, and then a nice curve there, and a nice curve there. It's like a circle in the neck, and like an ellipse in the mid-back and in the low back. But a nice like that. Because the forces of gravity push down on us all the time, and so we have to have a structure that's very stable against the forces of gravity. Mike, push straight down on that. Okay, good. You pushed pretty hard, right? Okay. So this neck has proper structure. Now, there are some of you whose neck in this room don't have proper structure, and in fact is going the wrong direction. Push down on that now. Look at that. Did you see that? It wasn't very stable, was it? So if our structure doesn't have the proper curves in it, it's not going to support us in gravity, and we're going to decay, and we're going to get degenerative disc disease, osteoarthritis, and a whole lot of other things, because these delicate nerves that come out from in between these bones, again, go to what? Every muscle and every organ in the body, right? Goes everywhere. It determines everything. It's the master system. Extension of the brain and the brain stem, the spinal cord, literally lives inside all these movable bones in your neck and back, then comes out from in between them where the discs are, going to every muscle and every organ of the body. Leave it. You can tell I have dogs. Okay. Okay, so if instead of my structure being nice and straight like this from the front, like it's supposed to, and it has a terrible shift in it, or a terrible curve in it, do you think that the nerves coming out are going to be functioning at 100%, going to the different muscles and organs in the body? No. No, that's right, not. Yeah, I actually have a patient that came in last week that looked just like I just made this. Terrible. Terrible. So now the forces of gravity are going to be crushing down on the spinal cord that's inside these bones, and on the discs and on the nerves, causing some kind of dysfunction someplace, and in a situation like this where you have scoliosis, it can cause many dysfunctions in many places. That's why it's so vitally important to get that fixed. Okay. All right. Now, so, I'm the orthodontist of the spine. I'm not the general dentist. You can go to many other chiropractors in this town. When I first came, there was only 12 of us. There was only 2 females in the whole town. In all of Antelope Valley, there was only 2 female chiropractors. And in fact, in most of the classes I have gone to, there was only 10% females. Now things are changing, and there's a lot of more females, and there's a lot of chiropractors here. But again, there's only 2 of us in all of Antelope Valley. In the whole valley of over 400,000 people, only 2 who do corrective care. I'm the orthodontist of the spine, not a general dentist. I can do what a general dentist does, you know, in the chiropractic realm. So if I was a dentist, what would I be dealing with?
Teeth.
Okay. People would come to me because they were in pain, right? Usually. I mean, there's other reasons too. There could be to do a cleaning just for maintenance. You could come to me for maintenance, or you could come to me, you know, just as a general checkup, or you could come to me because you had pain, right? What do you go to the orthodontist for?
Teeth straighten out.
Right, so teeth, so the structure of the teeth, of the crooked teeth, are straightened out by the orthodontist, right? Now, did you know, or who here knows, that an orthodontist has more education than a general dentist? Yeah, 2 years more. 2 years more. I have more education than a general chiropractor because I have decided to be a chiropractic biophysics chiropractor. So chiropractic biophysics, what we do is we help realign your structure so that your whole body can function better, so that slowly over time you don't degenerate and decay, so that we can stop that terrible problem of subluxation. So I'm not the patch-up doctor, I'm the corrective care doctor. So instead of coming to me for just pain, even though that might be why some of you came to my office in the first place, instead of coming to me for just pain, even though I can help you with that, people come to me because they want to change their life. People come to me because they want a better life. People come to me because they want to make sure that as they're getting older, their spines are getting healthier, and so they can live a healthy, happy life. Who here wants to get better as you get older? Good. I would hope you all do. And it is a process, right? You go to a general dentist and you just go a few times until the decay is filled in, reamed out, filled in. But how often do you go to an orthodontist? If you decide you want your structure changed, how often do you go to an orthodontist? How many times a week? 3 times a week. For how long? Do you go once? Do you go twice? It'd be anywhere from 1 to 7 years. Hi, go ahead and set that down. Okay. So, it's anywhere from 1 to 7 years. As a chiropractic ideal spine person, I'm going constantly every single month to learn better and faster ways to help you help yourself, to help you correct your spine so that you'll have a better life in your future. These things right here, although they look kind of ominous, they are for people whose spines are changing more slowly. We can do special traction on you to help your spines change faster. Okay, most of the time changing the spine is a gentle procedure and it feels pretty good. But sometimes we have to get a little bit more aggressive. It kind of depends on what's going on and whether or not your spine is changing as well as it should or not. Okay, so I'm going to show you. Who here would like to see some of my work? Okay, good, good. All right. All right, this is recent. These are all recent. Okay, so 7 months ago, this is a side view. This is the sacrum right here. This is L5, 4, 3, 2, and then the thoracic vertebrae, and then 1, and then the thoracic vertebrae. Okay, so who here can see that that person does not have a nice curve in that low back? Who here can see that it's completely straight? Yes, yes. So, if that curve is completely straight, look at what it's doing. So, do you think that that's going to put a lot of pressure on those discs right there? That's right. Do you think that's going to pull on the spinal cord? Yes, definitely. And the spinal cord is an extension of what? Your brain and your brain stem, that's right. So do you think it might have an effect on your brain, on your thoughts, on your ability to function right, to work right? Definitely. This guy, he actually came into me with a disc herniation. He could hardly walk, and he was in severe pain. And he was walking like this. And he was a strong, hard-working contractor in the, a builder. And he's the sole support of his family. So do you think that was pretty devastating for him to get a disc herniation and to not be able to work? Not to be able to function? Absolutely, absolutely. He did everything I said. And luckily, his wife was on board too. His wife made sure he did everything I said. So he came to my core exercise class and learned proper ways to exercise. Those little tiny muscles that support your spine. He changed his diet. I told his wife exactly what to change, and she made sure he changed it. And he came to every single appointment, except for he missed 1 week, but he made it up. But he was out of town, so he couldn't come. So he came to every single appointment except for 1 week, and he made it up. 7 months. 7 months. Same person. These are x-rays. 2 weeks old. 7.5 months old. What do you think? Do you think that he is a nicer husband? Absolutely, because he's not in pain, right? Do you think he's a lot happier? Do you think his wife is a lot happier? Absolutely, absolutely, very thankful. And he now is having his children examined for subluxation to see if we can avoid a problem with them, so that they don't end up like he did, with terrible disc compression, disc herniations, pulling on the spinal cord. Thank you so much. Okay, so in addition to that terrible flat back, here's his jaw, here's the back of his head. This is not him. This is somebody else. Okay. Jaw, back of the head. This is a nice normal curve. Remember I said it's supposed to be like a half a circle, okay? Because when it's not, it pulls on the delicate spinal cord and on your brain and your brain stem, okay? Also affects the vertebral artery that goes up and gives the circle of Willis its blood supply in the brain. Okay, so this is normal. This is where he was. Again, a lot of discompression, a reverse curve. 7 months later. Okay, can you see the difference in just 7 months? He's not 100% yet, but he's on his way. So we're still finishing the last little bit of correction with him. Who here wants a nice neck curve? Excellent. Who here wants a nice back curve? Definitely. Who here wants to function at their optimal level? Absolutely. Definitely. Can you lock the door, please? Okay. Now this person, she was in her teens, and she got hit by a car right in her low back, and it was one of those cases that you see in the movies where she gets hit and then her whole body flies up over the car. She's in her teens. Can you guys see how those poor discs are being smashed? Let me show you what normal looks like. See that? Nice, beautiful, wide open disc spaces, nice, beautiful, open nerve channels. See, that's normal. By the way, this is me. The normal, that's me.
Who's your chiropractor?
My chiropractor is Dr. Sack, and I'm his. And he's been my chiropractor for 23 years in October. 23 years in about a month. Yeah, I've been his for 23 years. Okay. Yeah, he's a good chiropractor too. Okay, so this again, this was in just 3 months, but she was in her teens. Do you guys see the difference here? Look at those nice disc spaces now. Look at that. See how it was crushed? Crushed disc? See how we regenerated it? See how that beautiful curve in there now? See how the nerves are nice and wide open now instead of facets jamming up into the nerve canal? You guys see that? Yeah. Yes. So, now, this is just a little girl. Just a little girl. She was only 18 months old. Now, why on earth would I take x-rays on an 18-month-old?
She's falling.
That's right. Little kids are falling all the time. Falling all the time. And there's another reason also. This person actually, her mother worked for me, and we took x-rays of her spine and found out that her mother had scoliosis. 95% of all scoliosis is passed down from the mother to the daughter. The other 5% is acquired through slips and falls. And so she wanted to see if her daughter had scoliosis, since she did, and sure enough, her daughter did have scoliosis. Now, scoliosis can literally be a death sentence. It literally can be a death sentence. One of my patients was under care. She was 13 years old. She had a 60-degree scoliosis. She had muscular dystrophy, so they couldn't do the Harrington rod. They usually do the Harrington rod at 40 degrees because they know after 40 degrees your whole system can shut down because of such bad vertebral subluxation, crushing the delicate nerves that go to the internal organs. So her parents brought her to me. She came 3 times a week. In 3 months we took x-rays. She was 10 degrees better, which is really good. So she went from 60 degrees to 50 degrees. They told me that they took, well, it was actually her orthopedic surgeon that took the x-rays. Even though he couldn't do surgery, he had her in these casts. And so she'd take the casts off and we would adjust her. And so she told me that the orthopedic surgeon told her not to bring her daughter in to see me anymore. But since she wasn't able to have surgery, but even if she was able, I told her, you know, that's a death sentence for your daughter. It's vitally important we get that scoliosis corrected as much as possible because it could get to a point to where it shuts down her vital systems in the internal organs. What is here? You've got the heart, you've got the lungs, you've got the stomach, you've got the pancreas, you've got the adrenal glands, you've got kidneys, you've got all kinds of internal organ systems. But they quit care, unfortunately, and exactly 1 year later, her spine had gone to 70 degrees, and she died. I actually had to testify in front of a jury, and unfortunately, it was very bad. The parents got put in jail for neglect, actually in prison, which was very sad. And I certainly did not want to testify against them. They asked me to be a witness for them just to demonstrate how the central nervous system can affect your internal organs. The first cause of death was respiratory failure. The second cause of death was malnourishment, and the third cause of death was severe thoracic subluxation. Subluxation can kill. It's vitally important you get it corrected. The younger you are, the easier it is to correct. Okay,
So if they quit your care because of the doctor's advice, then what happened to him?
well, see, that's what I thought. I thought that he should have been the one on trial. I thought he was the one that should have gone to prison.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I thought it was just a horrible tragedy. Yeah, I agree. And by the way, I said that. Okay, 3 months later. Okay, yeah, 3 months later. So who here says that scoliosis cannot be corrected? If I get them young enough, we can do amazing things. Like braces on your teeth, it may take time, but it's worth the time because your whole body is going to be able to work right. Your whole nervous system is going to be able to function properly. You're going to be able to think better. You're going to be able to have a better, fuller life. Who here was told that scoliosis cannot be corrected? Yeah, that's right. Some scoliosis can't be. Most of it can be at least managed, and some scoliosis can be corrected completely. It kind of depends on the structure. So if they have what's called a hemivertebrae, where the vertebrae actually is malformed, there's only so much we can do. But if everything is as it should be, as it was designed to be, then we have a lot better success. But even if we can't correct it at 100%, we can definitely slow that process down of getting worse. In most cases, reverse it, and in a lot of cases, reverse it completely. Now there was just one more x-ray I wanted to show you. here is older than 20? That's right, that's right. 2 are not. All right. So a lot of you people might be thinking, yeah, okay, that was in a child, it's a lot easier to correct in a child. The guy, he was definitely not a child. Now, here's another type of scoliosis. It's called a translatory scoliosis. This woman is 44 years old. Her scoliosis never got corrected as a child. And by the way, she came in and she was with a walker. And she could not function very well at all. And she had terrible pain down her leg. And she couldn't function. She has this huge, terrible, terrible spur there. All these vertebrae here twisted, rotated, subluxated. Okay. Takes us a little longer to help people older, especially if they already have degeneration, osteoarthritis, disc desiccation. This was 2 years. So now she's 46 here in this picture. There she was 44. So can you see, it didn't correct 100%, but doesn't that look a lot better? So can you see that at age 46, she's better than she was at age 44?
What's she walking now?
Oh, good, good, yes. Within about 3 to 6 months, she was walking normally. Yeah, it just took us 2 years to get that kind of correction now. She's older, she had a lot of degeneration, we had a lot that we had to work on. Yeah. Okay. So, who here is ready to live a better life? Okay, good. At least some of you are ready to live a better life. So that's good. So the ones that are ready to live a better life, there's definitely really good solutions out there for you. And I'm really happy that in this group of people, I don't have to turn 50% of you away like I had to last week, which was, it's always a very sad situation when I can't help somebody, that they've just let it go too far. What would determine whether or not I could help you? Well, what determined it in those 2 particular cases is both of them had let their subluxations go to such a degree, and neither of them had ever seen a chiropractor before, but they had let their subluxations go to such a degree, and they had such a bad diet, which does affect you, that they were already going into fusion. And so, but fusion throughout their whole body, there wasn't even anything I could do. Sometimes it's like, okay, you're fused here, I can't help that, but you're not fused there, so I can still help that. But it was just too far gone. It was just bad on both of their cases. All right. So, you actually get to eat now. Oh, Maria, they brought it in all these little containers. Okay, and Kyle, you can go ahead and shut that off, please.